Welcome to the People of Product podcast series, your go-to resource for product leadership. We are diving deep into the world of product management, sharing insights, strategies, and best practices to help you build exceptional products and lead high-performing teams. In this series, we'll cover a wide range of topics, including the unique challenges of product leadership, building and nurturing high-performing product teams, mastering the art of product strategy, navigating the ever-evolving tech landscape. Whether you are a seasoned product leader or just starting your journey, this podcast is for you. Join us as we break down complex concepts into actionable insights and equip you with tools and knowledge you need to succeed. All the responsibility with none of the authority. For many product leaders, work life is a constant tension between delivering value to one group and telling another they can't have what they want. Shipping product and its associated value is the reason these product leaders get up and go to work. This might sound straightforward, but it isn't without its challenges. Challenges that typically aren't just functional, but conceptual too. It's this subtlety that means product leaders are not always product managers. In fact, true product leaders may not have traditional management roles. We'll explore this difference between managers and leaders work throughout this conversation. Product leaders work under the pressure of delivering value while managing expectations of the multiple stakeholders. Although the analogy CEO of the product might be ideal, it expresses the high level of accountability associated with the product leader position. But despite having much of the responsibility of a C-level executive, product leaders lack the absolute authority of a CEO. It is worth mentioning that there are notable exceptions in early stage companies where the product leader might also be the CEO. But the takeaway here is that leadership isn't always about authority. In fact, in the modern consensus-driven workplace, the assumption of authority isn't guaranteed for true leaders. As Matt Essay, VP of Mobile for Adobe Marketing Cloud, notes, "I don't have actual authority to demand that people do certain things. I can influence and persuade, but I can't walk into a room and threaten my people to do something or they are fired." Authoritarian leadership is going the way of a dodo. As Essay points out, great product leaders lead by influence and example. Authority often comes with the job. Product leaders do have authority over certain aspects of the product delivery cycle, but they won't necessarily have authority over individuals or teams in the same way that a traditional manager might. Despite the fact that what product leaders do each day is critical to the success of their organization, there are insufficient examples of best practices and market-tested knowledge. This is partly because every company has a different set of product challenges, but also because each maintains a unique culture. However, there are best practices and universal truths that apply to all product organizations, which can operate successfully with limited interactions with other divisions or teams, where product is tightly bound to all aspects of the business. It follows then that successful product leaders will be those that have a holistic approach and are connected to every aspect of the business that supports the product. According to Jim Semick, CEO and co-founder of Product Plan, a tool for developing product roadmaps and delivery schedules, he says that the problem is that the product is not simply a set of features. The product is the way you talk about the product. It's the way you acquire customers, the sales process that you go through to actually close a customer, the experience that someone has when they are going through that process. That's all part of the product, at least in the customer's mind. Semick's list of responsibilities emphasizes the complexity of the role and the broad impact product leaders can have, but also underlines their lack of authority. Knowing which hat to wear is partly a matter of where you are in the product or business life cycle. Understanding the best approach at each stage can be the most demanding part of a fast-growing organization. A great product leader, correctly supported by the organization, can be the single source of truth about the success or failure of a product business. Without support from the organization, a product leader isn't going to have the impact they seek. Developing that support is a theme that we'll discuss throughout this series of exclusive podcasts. So you may ask, what is the ideal product leadership style for your product stage? Understanding what type of product management and leadership your organization is ready for will set your team for success. In theory, the right leaders build the right teams, and that leads to the right results. But in reality, finding the right people can be very hard. Their attitude, experience, skills, and ability to adapt will determine the success or failure of the product organization. Not everyone is cut out to be a leader. Not all leaders perform well at each stage of the business's growth. The best enterprise product manager is unlikely to be the best startup leader, and vice versa. Ultimately, the job of the manager or leader is to get results through other people. If there's one key takeaway from this conversation today, it's this. It is not about the individual success, it's about getting the best out of others. That is the leader's responsibility. There are a lot of great resources available on how to be a more successful individual or a better human being, but this is not that kind of conversation we are having today. The focus here is about making the entire team look good. It's about the results that you can create with and through others. So you might be thinking, how is this podcast organized? I've attempted to present this in multiple episodes in order to make it easy to access the relevant insights for the current stage of your organization and journey. Some examples on high level includes: Part 1 introduces the concepts of product leadership and identifies characteristics that are common across the wide range of product leadership roles and styles. It also considers which characteristics set leaders and their teams apart. Part 2 breaks the product environment into various stages. Lessons from leaders in organizations of different sizes and different levels of maturity makes up the bulk of this part. Finally, Part 3, or the finale section you may call it, explores the challenges facing product leaders as they work with outside teams and resources. For simplicity of reference, the parts of the episodes have been titled with the common stages businesses go through. It can be startup, emerging, or enterprise. These high-level categories are referenced throughout our conversation in this podcast series, with an acknowledgement that there are gray areas on how a company defines its stage. Yet, despite any oversimplification, these categories are useful in that they allow product leaders and the people they work with to quickly identify what characteristics and strategies will have the biggest impact on their organizations, their teams, and their products. All the episodes in this series are designed in such a way that empowers product leaders to choose their own adventure. I've attempted to arrange the insights and advice by company stage and by proximity to the product leader. In other words, I've placed the product leader at the center of the radiating ripples of team, organization, and customer. This does not suggest that communication with customers should occur only via the proxies of team and organization, but rather that the product leader's primary concern will be establishing a high-performance culture, process, and product by successfully developing the best possible team and communicating to the right organizational influencers to deliver coordinated value to the customer. By segmenting the advice by organizational stage, the product leader can ensure customers are getting the most relevant and appropriate guidance. Current and past product leaders provide insights and recommendations for how to lead a product team through the stages of growth, each of which may well require a different approach, different skills, and in some cases, different type of people. For those leaders who remain with the team, As it steps through these stages, some personal evolution may be required. Progressing from one stage to another depends on the ability to hold these different strategies in mind while developing stage-appropriate leadership skills. It's important to emphasize that it's very rare for a product leader to stay with an organization from startup to enterprise stages. It is more likely to see product leaders focus on their area of expertise with new or different projects and organizations. This podcast will hopefully provide a framework that a product leader can apply in their circumstances. So that's all for this exclusive series called The Evolution of Product Leadership, Straight from the Trench. Remember, the journey to becoming a great product leader is filled with challenges and rewards. By learning from the experiences of others and applying these principles to your own work, you can achieve great things. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll explore more insights, tips, and stories that will help make your journey easier to navigate. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep innovating, keep leading, and keep building amazing products.